Lonzo, to me, is the best player, kind of a stoic, quiet kid. LaMelo's like his dad. He's chatty, talky, showy guy. So LaVar's pulling LaMelo out of Chino Hills High School because he said that coach is not going to let him shoot and all that stuff. My takeaway on this was, actually, I'm surprised, and you know this AAU world. I was thinking to myself, LaMelo's a celebrity. He's got like Instagram. He's Lamborghini kid. And I was thinking to myself, there's a reason celebrities put their kids in private school. They're more equipped for celebrity kids. Mm-hmm. You really shouldn't have LaMelo Ball in a high school program anyway, should you? Like, is this a trend?
No, except that the coach that they hired played college basketball, knows what he's doing, and is trying to get him to play a more traditional style as opposed to cherry picking, getting layups, just chucking threes. I mean, look,
this kid's a ball hog.
Look, LaMelo, I don't think LaMelo is going to play college basketball anyway. I think that's because they've already designed a shoe around him. I think honestly, LaVar's plan for him is to send him overseas and have him play for a year or play with an IMG academy or something, so that he doesn't have to play in college and they don't have to give up any of the proceeds to whatever they make in Big Baller Brand. But there's all sorts of interesting aspects to it. I don't know if you know, Lonzo, they played a preseason game last night at Staples Center.
Yeah. Do
you know that he wore Kobe's shoes, not his own shoes? Right? So, like, you're trying to sell shoes and build up this brand. And I know Zoe ended up rolling his ankle, sprained his ankle, and left the game in the second quarter. But, like, what are you doing wearing Kobe's shoes if you want to kind of grow this brand? The LaVar thing is different now than it was when Zoe came out. When Zoe came out, all three brothers played together. It was kind of special. The dad was the AAU coach, and he wasn't a reality show star. He wasn't this bigger-than-life personality. He wasn't somebody. So I think it does have a chance to be a complete and total disaster because even though Lonzo Ball went and played in college, even though Lonzo Ball did play high school basketball, he still has to change his jump shot. He's never really weight trained before. He doesn't really know how to play on-ball defense. And he has the perfect makeup to do it. He's very coachable. The coaches like him. He's a pleaser. If anything, he passes too much, tries to score too much.
Lonzo, yeah.
But LaMelo is not wired that way. And LaVar is no longer what LaVar was. LaVar was a cute, cuddly story a couple years ago.
Now he's a jerk.
Now he's a bigger-than-life reality show star that every decision is made based upon the brand, not what's best for the kid.
Yeah, this story is. But it was funny. I saw that story, and I'm like, that kid shouldn't be going to public high school basketball.
And there have been plenty of people that have been homeschooled, right? Like Bryce Harper, I think, was homeschooled.
Was he?
Yeah, Justin Jackson, who played at North Carolina, was homeschooled. Now, he did play homeschool. They have homeschool teams. And Tim Tebow was homeschooled, by the way.
Oh.
Right? Homeschooled and played on a high school team. So the term homeschool freaks everybody out, but the fact that homeschool and no one else is going to coach him, and he's only going to work out with LaVar and only going to play AAU basketball for LaVar. Like, look, if LaVar really wants to do what's best for LaMelo, and he won't do this, is allow somebody else to coach his kid.
Yeah.
Well, don't you get that with AAU anyway? So I don't understand why he has to take him out of school for it. He just doesn't want the high school coach.
I think it's a power play.
It's a power, yeah.
It's just a power play. I won't play for that coach.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
no different than the Mannings, by the way. The Mannings did that when they were drafted by the San Diego Chargers, right? He won't play for that organization.
It's not the first dad to do it, but this situation to me, I really hope Lonzo does well because I do think what you said. I think Lonzo, my wife always says this as a parent, be a great example or a horrible warning. Kids learn from both. They really do.
Anne's amazing, by the way. She's helped us in some of our personal stuff. Like, she's actually the brains of the operation. I don't know if people know that.
I talk to Anne more than I talk to Colin.
That is
have a conversation
outrageous.
No, it's true. I have had full-on text conversations with your wife.
I didn't know about that.
With you, all I have is emojis.
No, I give you thumbs up and fist bump.
Yeah, your wife, full-on text messages.
I know, full on. And I tell her, stop talking to my
so what's your
friends.
thing? Be a good example
or a horrible warning. Children learn from both. You have the alcoholic father.
Yep.
You never drink. Listen, Lonzo looks at his goofy, jerky dad, and Lonzo's the opposite. He is more reluctant to be controversial. He is coachable. A kid can watch their parent and go...
He's been controversial.
No, I'm not saying...
but he's not with anything he's really said
considering
or
that
done.
circus dad.
Look, here, this will help. Since Colin, I don't know if people know, Colin has like 15 kids. They live in a shoe, right?
Yeah.
You have 6 children, right? Six. There's no others.
Some are mine, some are vagrants. I don't know.
So the point is this, though, that you can parent... You can't parenting kids the same is fine. They'll still be different. Yeah. And LaMelo and Lonzo and even Jello, they're all very, very different. They're wired differently.
Yeah.
And then LaVar is different now than he was then. And so yes, it worked out for Zoe, and it ended up being the perfect scenario. Plays for UCLA, reinvigorates UCLA. Now with the Lakers are reinvigorated. Like, all that stuff worked. So in LaVar's mind, he's like, hey, my way works.
Of course. Yeah, everything's
but
doing
he's
perfect.
different now than he was.
Exactly.
And LaMelo is a different kid. LaMelo is taller, but more selfish, not a pass-first guy.
No.
And needs to change his body and needs to change his game some. It doesn't mean it won't work, but you're also making the likelihood for success probably lessened based upon this decision.
You have an interesting theory. I said this has never happened in my life, Doug. The most important games of the weekend are the two games with the lousy teams. Because if Cleveland doesn't beat the Jets, they're not winning any more games. Okay? It's a one-win, two-win team.
Sure.
And if San Francisco doesn't beat Indy without luck, they're not winning a lot of games. We could have our Darnold, Rosen,
You're missing one. You're missing a team that should be in the market for their next quarterback.
Okay.
That would love to have Rosen, would love to have Darnold to energize their fan base. And, oh, yeah, by the way, they haven't won a game yet, even though they played 3 of their first 4 at home. You're missing on the L.A. Chargers. Right? The Chargers play against the Giants. Both teams are 0-4. Of course, I think the Chargers are actually a pretty good team. They just don't know how to win games, right? Should have beaten Kansas City if Phillip Rivers didn't spit up all over himself.
Yeah.
Right? Should have beaten the Miami Dolphins if they had a field goal kicker. Field goal kicker makes one, but they call timeout against Denver, and the second one gets blocked. Should have beaten the Denver Broncos first week of the season
could be
on the
4-0.
road. Could be 4-0, more likely like a 3-1 team, but had a chance against the Eagles if they could stop the run late. But they're 0-4, and they still have a bevy of road games against arguably the most difficult division in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't gone to Kansas City, haven't gone to Oakland, they have gone to Denver, but they got Denver at their place, which will be a road game anyway. I mean, you could see a chance here where the San Diego Chargers are in the market. LA Chargers are in the market for a quarterback. And, oh, yeah, by the way, their stadium they play in for the next 2 years is closer to where Sam Darnold grew up than where Sam Darnold plays home games in the LA Coliseum.
It's a good
point. It could be exactly what the Chargers need to create a fan base that doesn't exist in LA.
No, it's a really interesting point, is that Chargers, I mean, listen, you've lived here longer than I have.
Yep.
LA doesn't care about the Chargers. Sam Darnold is the rare college player people would be all in if he became a Charger.
Not just that.
Or by the way, Rosen maybe. Wouldn't hurt either.
Rosen wouldn't either. An LA kid. And look, first of all, anyone who says the Chargers are thinking about moving back to San Diego has bad sources. There's no focus at all. They believe when they open the doors on that new stadium that by then they will generate some interest. They will and it won't really matter because financially the team is worth twice as much being in LA.
Right.
They ain't moving back.
Right.
Even if Spanos sells the team, no one who buys that team is going to buy them and go like, hey, let's cut the value of the franchise in half and move back to San Diego.
I know, you're right.
And it's the worst of all. Look, this is a Raider town. And the Raiders' rival was the Chargers. And you put the Chargers, who no one really wanted, in a soccer stadium, which should be a cool place, but there's no real buzz to it. That said, in the 3-year game plan, you cannot get a better fit. And if you've watched Phillip Rivers, they have other issues. Their offensive line hasn't been great.
No,
defense couldn't stop the run. But Phillip Rivers, much like Ben Roethlisberger, class of 04, at some point, Father Time, there's only one Tom Brady who can play this well into his 40s.
Yeah.
And it doesn't appear to be Phillip Rivers. If he doesn't start playing better, they're in the market for a quarterback.
Yeah.
They don't have a clear backup quarterback who won the job in the preseason. There is no reason to not believe, that's like a triple negative, that Darnold and Rosen aren't in their crosshairs and wouldn't be the perfect fit when that new stadium opens up.
Doug Gottlieb is joining us. So it is remarkable that when I used to be, and you and I used to be at the other place,
Yep.
the SEC for 10 years dominated the sport. They've become Blockbuster Video. I've never seen a company, Blu-ray. They've deteriorated. I mean, there's still a ton of high school football talent. There's still passion. There's still money. It's not that. They have made so many bad hires. Have you heard the story about Ed Orgeron, who we both know is a wonderful guy? He's 5 games into his career. They're considering buying him out?
Did you see or hear what he did Saturday against Troy?
No.
Okay, they hired Matt Canada.
Great.
Matt Canada is an outstanding offensive coordinator, came from Pittsburgh. Matter of fact, NFL people were flocking to Pittsburgh to see their college offense. That's how much of a breakthrough offense it was. So he makes a great hire and says, hey, look, we've been running the ball into the line of scrimmage and trying to just mash people for years with Les Miles, who's an old school Michigan guy, right? And so now we're going to get to the 21st century, bring in Canada. The whole offense is designed around motion and shifting in order to create mismatches, throw the ball laterally to guys in space. And so it wasn't working great first couple games of the season. They didn't shift. There was no motion. They just tried to line up. Ed Orgeron, who's a defensive line coach by trade, was calling the plays in the first half.
Oh, good God.
And it was a disaster, an absolute disaster. Now, the reason that people have this mistake, they think the reason the $12 million buyout exists is because LSU feared that somebody would come in and poach Ed Orgeron. That wasn't going to happen. The reason these buyouts exist is you have to set a number that's high enough so that when the coaching job appears to be a disaster, that the Wolves aren't at the door 5 games in to where they want to fire him. I don't think they'll fire him, but I also don't think he should ever call offensive plays again. You hired an offensive coach to do his job.
Let him coach.
Let him coach.
Hi, everybody, and thanks for watching. We want you to subscribe here, to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the herd, or go watch a few segments from the newest show on FS1, First Things First, with Chris Carter and Nick Wright.